Joining us now is Ben Rhodes. He was Deputy National Security Advisor to President Obama. He's also the author, most recently, of After the Fall, Being American in the World We've Made. It's a close look at the world tilting away from democracy and the people around the world who are fighting against that, and the haunting question of what the U.S. can do, not only to try to save our own democracy here at home, but to help shore it up everywhere it is in danger. Ben, it's really nice of you to be here on a Friday night. Thanks for making time.
Thanks, Rachel, for covering this Hong Kong story. It's so important.
Well, so I'm a little bit haunted by your book. You might remember when we talked about it when it first came out that I sort of emoted to you that I was very troubled by the dynamics that you talk about. And following this Hong Kong story, I'm so moved by the efforts of the free press there and the efforts of civil society there and the efforts of the democracy activists to try to stand up against what really feels like a line of tanks. It really feels like a bulldozer that is going through them without any help. And I wanted to get your take on how bad things seem right now in Hong Kong and what the Biden administration is trying to do to help.
It's the worst case scenario, Rachel. For the book, I talked to a lot of young people, including people involved in the protest. They described this kind of whole society approach that you alluded to in your reporting, in which the Chinese Communist Party has taken over the media, they've taken over the curriculum in schools, they've created incentives in the society where if you want a good job, if you want to get ahead, you have to be silent about certain political matters. And the protest movement was a reaction against that. And a lot of those young people used to tell me things like, the only independent source of information we have is Apple Daily, right? And so what they've done since these national security laws were passed is they've extinguished the embers of democracy in Hong Kong. They've shut down any remaining free media. They've jailed the political opposition. And frankly, a lot of those young people I've talked to have left the country or now in the UK. I think for the Biden administration, obviously you can provide asylum, and we should, to anybody from Hong Kong who has a legitimate fear of persecution, which is a lot of people, unfortunately. You can sanction Chinese officials. You can review Hong Kong's status. Hong Kong has different rules in terms of financial transactions than mainland China. It was carved out because it was a free society. It clearly isn't anymore. So you can review whether that status should remain. But Rachel, the key thing I say in my book is we have to acknowledge as Americans that we have not prioritized human rights in our relationship with China. We've prioritized profit and open market for the last 30 years since Tiananmen. And the Chinese Communist Party has taken that signal. And when I say we, I don't just mean the U.S. government. I mean U.S. companies that have swallowed some pretty difficult things in order to be in that Chinese market. I mean, the U.S. entertainment industry. You had John Cena apologizing to the Chinese government to keep Fast and Furious movies on the movie screens there because he'd said something about Taiwan. You had the NBA games pulled off of CCTV because Daryl Morey, the general manager of the Rockets, tweeted in support of the people of Hong Kong. We have to decide as Americans whether our top priority in our relationship with China across the board, informing our diplomacy, our sanctions, our economic policy, is going to be our values. Because thus far, if we're honest, we have gone to the mat with China on trade irritants about how many soybeans they buy from the United States, more than we have on issues like what you reported on tonight.
And Ben, if the Biden administration wanted to be brave and bold on this issue, if they wanted to back up the kind of, I think, far-sighted and eloquent statements that they've put out in response to some of the repression that we've seen recently, domestically, do you think they would have a fight on their hands? Do you think that that would become either a partisan split or it would become some sort of one of these impasses in Washington? Or is this the sort of thing where, for example, if they wanted to offer Hong Kong dissidents asylum in this country, if they have a credible field of prosecution, do you think that the Congress could actually do it?
Well, look, being tough on China, standing up to China, whatever you want to call it, is the one bipartisan issue in our politics. I think it's a good test of the Republican Party's rhetoric on that. If you put into the system things like political asylum, which they are usually against in every case. I also think, though, importantly, Rachel, there's a difference between a kind of militarized Cold War with China and a values-based competition with what you described as happening in Hong Kong. Because the most important thing that we have to do in the United States is get our democratic example in line. That's what I heard from a lot of people in Hong Kong and around the world. Unless America is setting a better example for what democracy is and what it means to value a free press, it's much harder for us to have the credibility to sustain an effort in which we're defending those values abroad in a place like Hong Kong. And so I think the Biden team needs to connect what it's trying to do in the United States to defend democracy, to extend voting rights, to clean up our democracy with what it's doing abroad. I think another important thing that they're doing is multilateralizing this. So it's not just the United States, but it's all like-minded democracies speaking out against this. One of the things I found in the book, though, Rachel, and I described, being woken up in my hotel room in Shanghai in the middle of the night in 2017 and being kind of warned that Barack Obama, who I was traveling with, his former president, should not meet with the Dalai Lama. That's something that the Chinese have been doing, Chinese Communist Party, not the Chinese people, for decades. Relentless advocacy for their view of how the rest of the world should stay out of their affairs. And the point is that in the United States, through our democratic example, through our open door and asylum policy for Hong Kong refugees, through our multilateral diplomacy and raising this issue in multilateral forums and at the United Nations, and through our policies, we need to be similarly relentless in our defense of democracy, not for 1 month, not for 1 year, not for 2 years, not just when the camera is on these issues, but for the long haul. Because what we're seeing in Hong Kong is a free society. 2 years ago, you could go there and feel the characteristics of an open society. You would not feel that there today. It is not safe for people to express themselves there today. Young people there told me that there's such total control with technology, the surveillance that they have, that not only are they trying to control what you can say, they're trying to control what you can think. This is the kind of future that we have to push back on. And that has to be a multifaceted effort across government, working with allies, and has to be sustained for years to come.
Ben Rhodes, former Deputy National Security Advisor to President Obama. Ben, thank you. You're exactly who I wanted to talk to about this tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Rachel.